Hi guys, this is Connie, and thought I already had a video posted for the day, and turns out I uploaded it to the computer and didn't upload it to YouTube. So that was the thing. And until then, in order to pass the time, because it's a pretty long one, I did an episode of Connie Cooks, and I kind of just let the video continue to roll, so I'm going to have to go back through and cut and paste and cut and cut and cut and cut and cut and cut everything so that it's an actually decent enough video that it's not forever long. Like, you can make your own meal while you watch this video of me making a meal. So, until then, to pass the time, I wanted to do Connie reads cover to cover Aesop's Fables, because we haven't done one in a week or so. Feeling a little under the weather. I feel like this intro 1 minute's worth has already been kind of a vloggy thing, but reading seems to make it better. So let's read. Forget let's play. Let's do let's read. So, we've got some classic ones coming up. This is page 44. I don't think we're going to actually see this story or listen to this story today, but I'm going to pause the screen and enjoy all the beautiful art that is in this book. But we do start with A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. A wolf resolved to disguise himself in order that he might prey upon a flock of sheep without fear of detection. So he clothed himself in a sheepskin and slipped among the sheep when they were out at pasture. He completely deceived the shepherd, and when the flock was penned for the night, he was shut in with the rest. But that very night, as it happened, the shepherd, requiring a supply of mutton for the table, laid hands on the wolf in mistake for a sheep, and killed him with his knife on the spot. I'm not sure I like that rendition of it, but it is a rendition. The Stag in the Ox Stall. A stag, chased from his lair by the hounds, took refuge in a farmyard, and, entering a stable where a number of oxen were stalled, thrust himself under a pile of hay in a vacant stall, where he lay concealed, all but the tips of his horns. Presently one of the oxen said to him, "What has induced you to come in here? Aren't you aware of the risks you are running of being captured by the herdsmen?" To which he replied, "Pray let me stay for the present. When night comes I shall easily escape under the cover of the dark." In the course of the afternoon, more than one of the farmhands came in to attend the wants of the cattle, but not one of them noticed the presence of the stag, who accordingly began to congratulate himself on his escape and to express his gratitude to the oxen. "We wish you well," said the one who had spoken before, "but you are not out of danger yet. If the master comes, you will certainly be found out, for nothing ever escapes his keen eyes." Presently, sure enough, in he came, and made a great to-do about the way the oxen were kept. "The beasts are starving," he cried. "Here, give them more hay, and put plenty of litter under them." As he spoke, he seized an armful himself from the pile where the stag lay concealed, and at once detected him. Calling his men, he had seized him at once and killed for the table. And, here's another beautiful picture. The quack frog. Interesting. I don't think we're going to get that far into it either, but they're still beautiful pieces of art. And you can see the age in this book. Definitely wasn't in elementary school. Very thankful I got to get this copy. Next story. The Milkmaid and Her Pail. A farmer's daughter had been out to milk the cows and was returning to the dairy carrying her pail of milk upon her head. As she walked along, she fell a-musing after this fashion. "The milk in this pail will provide me with cream, which I will make into butter and take to market to sell. With the money I will buy a number of eggs, and these, when hatched, will produce chickens, and by I shall have quite a large poultry yard. Then I shall sell some of my fowls, and with the money which they will bring in I will buy myself a new gown, which I shall wear when I go to the fair. and all the young fellows will admire it and come and make love to me. But I shall toss my head and have nothing to say for them, forgetting about the pail. Ooh. Oh, that wasn't the complete sentence. Forgetting all about the pail and suiting the action to the world, she tossed her head. Down went the pail, all the milk was spilled, and all her fine castles in the air vanished in a moment. The moral of the story says, do not count your chickens before they are hatched. Next story. The Dolphin, the Whales, and the Sprat. The dolphins quarreled with the whales, and before very long they began fighting with one another. The battle was very fierce, and had lasted some time without any sign of coming to an end, when a sprat thought that perhaps he could stop it, so he stepped in and tried to persuade them to give up fighting and make friends. But one of the dolphins said to him contemptuously, "We would rather go on fighting till we're all killed than be reconciled by a sprat like you." I'm not sure I actually know what a sprat is, but Google is a thing. Next story. The Fox and the Monkey. A fox and a monkey were on the road together and fell into a dispute as to which of the two was the better born. They kept it up for some time, till they came to a place where the road passed through a cemetery full of monuments, when the monkey stopped and looked about him and gave a great sigh. "Why do you sigh?" said the fox. The monkey pointed to the tombs and replied, "All the monuments that you see here were put up in honor of my forefathers, who in their day were eminent men." The fox was speechless for a moment, but quickly recovering, said, "Oh, don't stop at any lie, sir. You're quite safe. I'm sure none of your ancestors will rise up and expose you." The moral of the story says, boasters brag most when they cannot be detected. The Ass and the Lapdog. They call donkeys that. So here we go. There once was a man who had an ass and a lapdog. The ass was housed in the stable with plenty of oats and hay to eat, and was as well off as an ass could be. The little dog was made a great pet of by his master, who fondled him and let him lie in his lap. And if he went out to dinner, he would bring back a bit or two and give it to him when he ran to meet him on his return. The ass had, it is true, a good deal of work to do, carting or grinding the corn, or carrying the burdens of the farm. And ere long he became very jealous, contrasting his own life of labor with the ease and idleness of the lapdog. At last, one day, he broke his halter, and frisking into the house just as his master sat down to dinner. Ooh, what did he do? He pranced and capered about, mimicking the frolics of his little favorite, upsetting the table and smashing the crockery with his clumsy efforts. Not content with that, he even tried to jump on his master's lap, as he had so often seen the dog allowed to do. At that, the servants, seeing the danger their master was in, belabored the silly ass with sticks and cudgels, and drove him back to his stable half dead with his beating. "Alas," he cried, "all this I have brought on myself. Why could I not be satisfied with my natural and honorable position without wishing to imitate the ridiculous antics of that useless little lapdog?" I really like that story. Awesome. Next story. The Fir Tree and the Bramble. A fir tree was boasting to a bramble and said, somewhat contemptuously, "You poor creature, you are of no use whatever. Now look at me. I am useful for all sorts of things, particularly when men build houses. They can't do without me then." But the bramble replied, "Ah, that's all very well. But you wait till they come with axes and saws to cut you down, and then you wish you were a bramble and not a fir." Moral of the story: better poverty without a care than wealth with as many obligations. I think we'll do a couple more. Is there another? There's two more stories on this one. And there's a little... okay. We'll end with the story with another picture. We have a few more before that, though. Next one. The Frog's Complaint Against the Sun. Once upon a time, the sun was about to take himself a wife. The frogs in terror all raised their voices to the skies, and Jupiter, disturbed by the noise, asked them what they were croaking about. They replied, "The sun is bad enough even while he is single, drying up our marshes with his heat as he does. But what will become of us if he marries and begets other sons?" Silly story. Okay, next story. This one's called The Dog, the Cock, and the Fox. A dog and a cock became great friends and agreed to travel together. At nightfall, the cock flew up onto the branches of a tree to roost, while the dog curled himself up inside the trunk, which was hollow. At break of day, the cock woke up and crew, as usual. A fox heard, and wishing to make breakfast of him, came and stood under the tree and begged him to come down. "I should so like," said he, "to make the acquaintance of one who has such a beautiful voice." The cock replied, "Would you just wake up my porter who sleeps at the foot of the tree? He'll open the door and let you in." The fox, accordingly, rapped on the trunk, and when out rushed the dog and tore him in pieces. Clever, clever little story. I'm going to do these out of order. No, maybe not. We'll just do the next one, and this will be it for the end of the session. This last one is called The Gnat and the Bull. A gnat alighted on one of the horns of a bull and remained sitting there for a considerable time. When it had rested sufficiently and was about to fly away, it said to the bull, "Do you mind if I go now?" The bull merely raised his eyes and remarked without interest, "It's all one to me. I didn't notice when you came, and I shan't know when you go away." Moral of the story: we may often be of more consequence in our own eyes than in the eyes of our neighbors. Ooh. And this one has a cute little sketch on it. So, I hope you continue to enjoy this cover-to-cover read of my copy of Aesop's Fables. And until next time, be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you. And I will see you probably for the next rendition. Possibly in the next few minutes because I've still got some time to spare. Have a great one. Bye.